Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching in the world. Welcome along to TTTV, and this is TTL F1, which is season number 15 and round number 8, which takes us to the Sochi Autodrome here for the Russian Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box is Mr. Andy Campbell. Andy, how are you tonight?
Very good, thank you, Kieran. Hello everyone, welcome along to the Russian Grand Prix here. Round number 8, if I've got my maths correct, for TTL F1, and a track that I think we mentioned a couple of weeks back that I actually don't mind too much in terms of driving. I think it's quite a flowing track, and I've seen some good races here, so I'm hoping for more of the same tonight. We've got nearly a full grid, 17 drivers, so this should be fun.
It should be fun, and Russia has one of those memories for me that it had one of my most hectic races that I ever participated in. I used to race, remember?
Really?
Yeah, really?
Really?
Yeah, well, when I used to drive in TTFL, it was actually one of the races that I think for the entire first stint there was an 11 car train for the lead of the race. It was insane. But we just had to keep following one behind each other because we all had DRS. We all had to just sort of stay behind each other. That's the thing about the Russian track, is that there's not many heavy braking zones at this track, so there's not really many places you can have a lunge down the inside and try and make a move. But what it lacks in those harsh braking areas, it makes up for with some fantastic flowing corners, and turn 3, Andy, comes to mind.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, a lot of the apex speeds in are a lot higher than what they would be at other tracks. You're usually around about 100 miles an hour on the apex, quite a few of these corners. Even what is the first main turn, which is technically turn 2, because of the curve through turn 1 from the start line, it's not the biggest braking zone. You know, it's a tighter corner, but it's still got quite a fast apex speed to it. So if you're going to make a pass down there, you really need to be alongside. What it does mean, as you say, with the lack of braking zones, if someone is going to make a pass, if they make it cleanly, it's going to be a very spectacular pass on most occasions, because you need to be absolutely perfect because of that lack of heavy braking.
And we're coming into what's going to be a crucial qualifying. That means then, because if there's less overtaking opportunities, that means the drivers need to prioritise qualifying. What sort of strategies are you expecting tonight here, Andy?
Not too sure. I've not got my cheat sheet for this one yet, unfortunately. It's not quite came up to this one. Yeah, I know, it's terrible. I've got another few rounds before I'm given that one, unfortunately. But I would imagine probably a one-stop strategy, possibly most likely again to be medium to hard, hard to medium. I'm not too sure just how good or bad the soft tyres are around here in terms of drop-off and tyre wear. But if they're anything like most places, they'll probably last about 5 to 6 laps, and most people won't want to be running them for too long, if at all, during the race, because then they'll need to do a much longer stint at the end on the hard tyre, when people who go medium or start on the hard tyre will then have a better compound or a fresher tyre at the end of the race. So I don't anticipate it, but we'll wait and see. Many a time, me and you, and at least in terms of this game mainly, sit in the commentary box rather than being out there.
Yeah, the one thing I remember from racing around this track is that tyre wear doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. You can get away with an aggressive strategy, but that, of course, was back, I believe, on the last time I raced in this track in a league race. I think it was 2017, F1 2017. It must have been, because I don't think I ever raced this track in 2018. So, yeah, my experience around the track is fleeting and it's waning. But from what I remember, tyre wear can be used to your advantage here, but you've just got to be so careful about how you set the car up. Do you prioritise the high aero corners? Do you go for the long straights that there are here? I mean, turn 1 isn't even a heavy braking zone, Andy. The first real overtaking opportunity of the race is turn 2, which is quite a bizarre thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely, just because it's a flat out curb, and even then turn 2, because it's not big heavy braking zone either. In terms of some turn, first or second turns on other tracks, it means it's even then still not the best overtaking opportunity. The biggest braking zone is probably down the back straight, the other DRS zone down towards there, but hey, we'll see how we go. I believe you're still on board with for a hot lap round the Sochi Autodrome, shall we?
Shall we indeed? Take it away.
So heading up through the curve of turn 1, DRS obviously wide open down through here, and up and over to 210 miles an hour before we hit the brakes, around about 80 metres, and as you can see 85 miles an hour on the apex there through turn through. The turn 3, hugging the inside as the Red Bull, just trying to keep it to the left hand side to open up turn number 4, using a lot of curb, and again you can see there 100 miles an hour on the apex, very quick turn through there, keeping it in 6th gear, down to 3rd gear, 80 miles an hour through the curve of turn 5, through turn 6 and up towards turn 6. Using all of the curb that you can, but you need to be careful not to overdo it as we come up through the left hander. 115 miles an hour there, Muller on the inside curb with the left hand tyres, up towards the right hander, taking us onto the back straight. You want to get good speed out of here, DRS open, just drag the car nicely to the right hand side, just keep it there as straight as possible, opens up this slight curve here. Heavy braking zone, probably the heaviest braking zone on the track, down to 60 miles an hour roughly through there. The left-hander up towards the final part of the circuit now. Tricky braking zone here, you are uphill slightly, but it's cambered, it catches you out. The right-hander, careful of the wall on the outside there, and up to the final 2 turns. Just throw it into the first part, 90 miles an hour, and use the outside as much as you can to make it easier through the exit. And it's a 131.2 from Jack in the Red Bull, and that is on the soft compound tyres as Recon went across the line there, but he invalidated his lap. Didn't catch what he did, unfortunately.
And all the lap times will be coming in thick and fast. Alan Kay setting 135.4 on the medium tyres. Graham there 134.1. Well, Andy, there's 3 races to go here tonight at Russia. We then have Mexico for round number 9, and then we finish off the season at Brazil, which some drivers, hint hint Spike, will be saying that should be the season finale altogether. And we have ourselves, when we look at the championship, the Drivers' Championship that is, Jack is 121 points, Lyronix on 95. You know, for Lyronix, it seems like it's a huge mountain to climb for him.
Definitely a big for the champion, defend that crown. I do happen to Brazil should be the final, and I take it I'm cutting up a little bit, so you're about to jump in.
Just a little bit, yes.
It's funny because you were doing it on my side just before, so I don't know, something going on. Am I sounding okay now?
Yeah, bits and bobs. Yeah, I'm getting most of it. Don't worry. I'm just worried about everybody else, Andy. No one will be able to hear your beautiful voice.
Are you?
What I was going to say was the gap between the leaders is 26 points. Now, with 3 races to go, that means a maximum now of 78 points up for grabs if you take into account of the fastest lap of the race bonus points. So 78 points left to score, 26 points separates the 2 championship rivals. Which way do you see this one swinging here at Russia? It's not so good now. Hopefully we can get Andy back. Hopefully you're still there, are you, Andy? That's not a good sign. Okay. I'm
playing about the microphone. Hold on.
All right, I'll hold on. Well, I'll tell you right now, the Constructors' Championship is much closer. Mercedes are on 150, Red Bull on 141. Meanwhile, don't rule out Ferrari and Toro Rosso 107 and 97 points respectively. So Constructors is a lot closer, and of course there's a lot more points up for grabs in these final 3 races. I mean, you could score as the team a maximum of 46 points if you really want to. So it should be pretty interesting as we head towards the final couple of rounds. Andy, are you joining us again? I
hope so. Sounding better?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that'll do. Good stuff. Yeah. Oh, hopefully everyone can hear me. What's going on? It was a strange one, but there you go. What I was saying was that in terms of Brazil, I agree with Spike. I think it should be because we've got tracks like Russia's not. As I say, I don't mind Russia. Warren's in the chat.
It's not looking good. It's just, I don't know if I'm cutting over Andy entirely, because if Andy's getting cut, like if Andy's hearing me staccato, I don't know what you guys are hearing. So hopefully it all holds out.
I'm going to check the stream back and see how it's sounding. All right, go for it now, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. How is everyone? What did you all have for tea? No, I'm not going down that route. But anyway, so 26 points separates the two championship rivals. 3 races to go, and we have here tonight the Russian Grand Prix. You know, it's not an overtaking track. We've heard that from myself and Andy throughout the stream. You've really got to. It really prioritises consistency, hitting your apexes time and time again. It's a long race here at Russia, so anything can happen. And from the looks of it, we're going to have a dry qualifying and an overcast race. That could mean that the track temperature is a little bit cooler than it is here in qualifying. That could promote graining of the tyres. So if the tyres start to grain away because any heat they do gain is lost, therefore the tyres start to grain, that could actually reduce the grip around here and increase tyre wear.
I'll be back.
You'll be
2
back.
moments.
All
I'll be
right.
back, hold on.
Okay. Arnie Campbell over here is saying he'll be back. So that's what that big box across the screen is. That's just Andy leaving the party. Hopefully he'll be able to join back without me having to invite him, but hey ho, we'll see how it goes. Recon, 12th place right now, hasn't set a lap time just yet. His teammate Shaw on the hard tyres, 135.0, as Henny is actually retired from the session altogether in the Racing Point car. He is out of qualifying. I'm not sure if that's a retirement on his own accord, if it's in the pit lane. If it was in the pit lane, then it would come up Sector 3 and Sector 1 yellow. It's just coming up Sector 1 yellow. Now it's Sector 2. I'm a bit confused, to be honest with you. Anyway, what I can say is Henny's out of qualifying for now. I say for now, but that's it now. He can't exactly rejoin qualifying. We've got Charlie out there in the Alfa Romeo, and he has been outperforming his teammate Alan Kay over the season. It's been looking good for him so far, and he has been improving over this season. Obviously, we love to point out, well, we don't love to point out, but we do point out that season 14 for him was, at the end of it, 0 points scored. So far this season, he's scored 3 points. So he's had a pretty decent season so far. His best result of the season has been the 3 consecutive 10th places at Bahrain, Azerbaijan and at Monaco that helped him get the 3 points where he is in the championship right now, and puts it now up into 8th place at 134.8 on a set of the medium tyres. Recon then goes quickest at 134 points, 131.0 I should say, and that is 2 tenths quicker than Jack there. So Recon in the Ferrari looking to try and throw up a little bit of a storm. Of course, 76, what did I say, 78 points still up for grabs. And if I have a look at Recon here, well, he's on 76 points. So if we compare that to the championship leader, that's a points gap of 45. So it looks a little tough for Recon. And a race win here and a non-finish for Recon could mean that that's the end of it. He needs to pretty much finish in front of Jack and in front of Lyronix, because if that gap goes over 50 points, then he is out of the championship hunt. So he's got to be doing the best he possibly can here. And it's not good when he said there's about a 5 out of 10 chance that he would disconnect from this lobby, not through his own means, but because of his internet connection. So let's hope it holds for the Dutchman, because really he needs to get that finish under his belt. So we'll have to see how that all develops. But yeah, 45 points separates him and Jack right now. So not looking too optimistic for Recon. But then again, this is Formula 1, anything can happen, and it normally does. So we've got Recon leading the way then. Jack is in second at 131.2, Spike in third, 131.7, with Lighty in fourth, 132.3. The Gort is in fifth place on a 132.5. Warren is in sixth place there on the hard tyres, a 132.8. Navy in seventh on a 133.0. Lyronix 133.5 in eighth. Graham 134.1 on the soft tyres, and Sean rounds out the top 10. He's currently on the hard tyres, 134.555, I believe, and he's rejoined us in the commentary box. I thought I changed the locks.
No, you left the spare key under the mat.
The new lock. Am I really
yes,
am I really that stupid?
Rookie error. You must have done something. Either that, or I'm just good at hacking stuff. But there you go. Anyway, yeah, hopefully that's fixed it, and hopefully the only interference now is my throat. when it decides it doesn't want to work. But don't know what happened there. Very frustrating. It's the first time it's happened since I've moved into this house and the new internet, so it's quite frustrating that being the case. But hopefully a quick reset's done the trick, and hopefully we'll have no more problems for the rest of the night.
Yeah, do you know that 90% of all technological related problems are fixed by switching it off and on again? And did you know, Andy, that 72% of all facts are made up on the spot?
Absolutely, and also out of that 90%, the 10% that doesn't work usually involve life support machines, but that was probably a step too far. Anyway.
Wow. They say prepare for everything in this stream. How can I possibly prepare for that?
It worked for me, that's why I'm billing with as nuts as I am. But anyway, nice to see. It seems like the tyres, obviously, and everything I said earlier about the soft compound tyres is completely and utter rubbish, because quite a few of them are out there on the soft compound tyres. Top 6 are all on the soft compound tyres. Warren is the first driver on the mediums, and as you mentioned, Lyronix having done his best, I think, on the hard. Oh, they're all on the soft. Yeah, Warren done it. He's all up on the hard tyre. Sorry, he's on the mediums now. So, yeah, maybe I was wrong about the tyres. I'd say I didn't race this track in 2018, so I only ever used the game really to commentate. So, be interested to see. It is going to be a dry race. We've been told it's going to be overcast though, so it will obviously have an effect on the tyre temperature, the track temperature. But I'll be interested to see if anyone else decides to go with the soft compound tyres, or someone feels that they can maybe find a bit of time on the mediums and try that strategy going medium to hard, because I still think that will be a quicker strategy overall.
Yeah, I was just talking to myself actually about the championship rivalries. Now Recon is 45 points behind Jack here, and of course we have 78 points left to score. That goes down to 52 after this round. So how tall of an order is it for Recon heading towards the back end of the season?
Yeah, it's definitely a tall order with that gap there. 75 points up for grab, 45 points. Jack just needs a good performance tonight, and it could technically be a game over in that sense, because if Jack gets a win here tonight, he's going to increase that lead. He might even increase it, at least over Recon certainly, to more than 50 points, and that could mean that he's then mathematically out of the championship race. We did say at the end of last season Jack was only doing every other race basically, and he still finished in third. I think he took 3 victories as well, and we did say that if he was doing a full season he would definitely be one to keep an eye on, and he's proven us to be right. So, you know, at least we can get something right in pre-season.
Yeah, well, as we say, Jack is a former champion of TTL F1. He's won it once before, back in season 13. Meanwhile, the reigning champion is currently in second place in the championship, Lyronix there. So the last 2 champions, Andy, look in pole position to try and take this as far as it possibly can. With the outsider Recon there, no championships in TTL F1 to his name. It might be looking like the end of the road through disconnections and through internet troubles. So I definitely think he's one to watch for next season.
Definitely so, and you know, he actually put something in the chat earlier saying that he's got a 5 in 10 chance that the internet might go pop tonight as well. Really hope it doesn't, because that would then kill any slim chances that he does have. He has been extremely quick though when he has finished. I mean, he DNF'd in Bahrain. Sorry, that's Lyronix, I'm looking at the wrong one. That's like Lyronix has been consistent. There you go. Recon's had 2 victories. He won the first round, he's won last week in Italy. He's had a 3rd place in Britain and a 5th place in Monaco. He's had 3 other races where he did not start, so it's been an up and down season. He certainly needs something to come around, but just looking at Jack and Lyronix sort of consistency, especially Jack, 5th, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 4th and 3rd. He's never been outside the top 5, the Red Bull driver. It's no surprise he's at the top of the championship. Lyronix had a tricky start to the season. He DNF'd the first round. He was obviously in hospital in the second round at Baku, but since then he's never been off the podium. So he's making a late charge for it, but it just might be a little too late with Jack's consistency so far, unless something happens. Navy up to 2nd at the moment as well. Jack 3rd, Spike 4th, but still Recon at the top of the standings with a minute to go.
A minute to go, and also honourable mentions to Traw. He is I believe that's 50 points exactly away from the championship leader. He now puts himself up to 7th place on a set of those medium tyres of 132.6. I can't wait to see a lap time from Warren on a faster set of tyres, because he looks good, like it's going to be a mighty lap time. He's actually making his way now down towards, I believe this is turn number 13 through 14.
He's 2 times up as well.
He is, so this could be a really good opportunity to get himself at least onto that 3rd or onto the grid, maybe even higher. Let's see how he goes then towards the final 2 corners of turn 17 and then through turn 18. Warren here keeping the car nice and tidy towards the start finish line. 5th place from Warren there, a 132.1 on a set of those medium tyres. So that's a really, really good lap time from the McLaren there, opting for a different strategy. We've got Recon out there on a flying lap now, making his way through turn 5 and onwards towards turn 6. Navy, I believe, making his way now through turn 4, but he loses the back end. That could be lap over for the Dutchman there. Jack, meanwhile, is 0.07 of a second up through the 1st sector. How about Spike? He's been complaining about loss of grip through the 3rd sector. Of course, he's racing on a controller, so he's feeling a little bit different about Recon than Navy and Jack and so on and so forth. He's one of the highest runners that's using the controller here, so let's see what he can do. Currently 4th place, 2nd row of the grid for him. Lighty retires from the session altogether. Here's the Gort then making his way towards the final 2 corners. A pole sitter this season already. Let's see if he can get himself further up the order. Currently in 7th place, puts himself up to 5th place onto the 3rd row of the grid. Here's Conti towards the line. He moves up to 8th place, jumping Traw there, and Traw's backed out of his lap, currently now in 9th
Lyronix is on his way towards the line shortly. 7, nearly 8 tenths up in sector 2. He's on a flyer on the mediums.
Yeah, Recon finishes his lap then, but doesn't improve. Here is Lyronix, yet to set a competitive lap time on a competitive tyre round the final corner. And 5th place for the Mercedes driver on those medium tyres, 32.0 from the Merc man. So we've only got, I believe it's now Spike on a flying lap, ready to get to the checkered flag. You've got Warren out there. I'm not sure if he's on a flying lap, but anyway, here is Spike then coming through the final corner now, trying to hit that apex as sweetly as possible. And it's an improvement, but no place is gained for Spike. Then Warren comes across the line, 32.114, and with all drivers either taking the checkered flag or coming back into the pit lane, it's that Dutchman in a Ferrari. Recon will grab pole position for the Russian Grand Prix.
Yeah, lovely lap time there in the soft compound tyre from Recon. It's not the first time he's been on pole either this season. He's had a few of them. He's shown some brilliant 1 lap pace over the times, and he's starting to put some results together as well. Just needs to avoid a disconnection hopefully tonight. That would be the worst thing to happen. But it is Recon. It's an old Dutch front row. Recon in the Ferrari 131.0, 2 times clear of his countryman Navy in the Renault 131.2. Jack just behind in 3rd, your championship leader. Spike in 4th, top 4 on the soft compound tyres. Lyronix for that last lap are in 5th on the medium, so we'll need to keep an eye out for him. 32.0, just under a second down. It got exactly a second down on the soft compound tyres. Warren in 7th from the mediums. Lighty County in 8th and 9th from the softs. Troll rounds out the top 10 on mediums. Sean, Charlie, Mays, Alan Kay, and I didn't get round the rest of the list unfortunately because I was taking far too blooming long.
You were taking far too long.
Far too long.
Andy. Oh, what are we going to do with you, eh?
Big F for that one.
Oh dear, oh dear. Can we have F in the chat, please? That'd be great. Well, it's looking pretty overcast here, just like the weatherman predicted. The weatherman's not always right, Andy, but he's got it 100% right today. The sun's just not poking through, so we'll have to see. You know, overcast doesn't necessarily rule out rain. It just rules out that maybe the intermediate tyres won't be used. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, definitely so. It's going to make obviously a difference to track temperature as well, which means getting the tyres up to temperature is going to be harder as well. It's going to maybe take an extra few corners, maybe an extra half a lap, or maybe even an extra lap or 2. You never know, depending on the compound. Should be seeing the front runners coming in within the first, I would say, anywhere between lap 7 and maybe lap 11 at the very latest if you're pushing it, but I think that's really pushing it. 27 lap race, so it'll probably be within the first, probably somewhere around lap 6 to 8 on the soft compound tyres would be your best bet. Medium compound runners will probably run into the teens, early teens I would imagine for that, and then going on to stuff, maybe late teens if they really want to push it, just to make sure they get the best out of their tyre life. But I still expect to see a lot of people on the hard compound tyre by the end of this race. Softs and mediums in the top 10. Outside the top 10 is medium tyres for Sean, Charlie Mays and Alan Kay. That's 11th down to 14th. Graham and Gypsy George are on the soft compound tyres, 15th and 16th. And Jeffrey Henney on the mediums in 17th and last. And that means not only is it a Dutch 1-2, it's a Dutch sandwich for everybody as well. I'm sure there's a euphemism in there somewhere, but I'm not going to even go there.
And I'm very glad you didn't. We've also got, I'm trying to look through the standings right now, we've got Navy who's on 63 points, so he is 58 points behind the championship leader. Spike on 55, I'm just trying to see what's going on here, so he's 66 points behind, which means Warren on 50 points is 71 points behind, so technically still in the championship hunt. So 7 drivers still in with a mathematical shot of winning this title. And Recon's left. No!
He did say he did say in the chat a 5 and 10 shout of the internet giving up on him, and it's done it on the formation lap. If he doesn't get back in that car, it's going to ghost its way around, and he's definitely going to be out of the championship hunt. What a disaster!
He put it all on red and it's come up black for Recon, currently disconnected. He did start the formation lap, so if he can make it back into the lobby, he will be able to retake control of that car at any point in this race. But right now, the AI will be starting the race for the Dutchman, so Navy here has a prime opportunity to try and take the race lead, but he's going to have Jack breathing down his neck, and Spike and Lyronix their 4th and 5th place. We'll see how they go in this championship. But now we are moments away from the Russian Grand Prix and the 8th round of TTL F1. And look at that, Recon has just about joined back in, but he'll still be a ghost car for the race start. He won't really join until maybe the 3rd corner. But here we go then. We are ready with the red lights to count up to signal the start of the race. It is 5 red lights. Round 8 is underway, and what are the starts like? It's a good start from Navy, it's a good start from Jack as well. He gets to cut off Spike then as we make our way through turn number 1, and Navy here is having to defend from the Red Bull behind him. Down towards turn 2 we go. Navy will take the lead through the ghost car, that is Recon, and he's actually now taken back control, and that is really not where you want to take back control of the car. But look at that then, side by side through turn number 3, and Jack takes the race lead here at the Russian Grand Prix. But look at that, it's a medley behind them there. Lyronix is now up into 4th place. We've got a car around in the background. That's Traw in the Toro Rosso around turn 4. And that is a huge disaster for the Toro Rosso there. And he's left the session entirely. So that is not a good day for him, assuming that is now going to be a retirement. Graham in 13th place, Charlie in 14th as well. But a good start from Navy, a better start by Jack, and that puts him onto the front of the pack right now. Navy losing the back end slightly out of turn 10 there, and Recon, even without DRS, is starting to close in on the Renault ahead of him as we head now through turn 12 and on towards the braking zone of turn 13. Recon looking for a move up the inside. That's put Navy off actually, as he takes a wider line in through turn 13, through turn 14, again a bit compromised. Now Recon's looking to put the nose up the inside of 15. He'll have to go around the outside of turn 16 here. Has Recon got that move done? Yes, he has. The Ferrari moves up to 2nd place. A lovely bit of racing there. Just did enough to put Navy off without really having to do a lot. And he's now put himself up to 2nd place. And after that first lap, Jack leads from Recon, Navy, Lyronix, Spike, the Gort, Lighty, Warren, Conti, Sean, Mays, George, Charlie, Graham, Henny, Alan Kay and Traw, with the 2 Mercedes then battling away for position, and Spike now moves up to 4th place. That was a bit of a hectic start there for Recon, and a bit of drama there for the Toro Rosso of Traw, who's now rejoined the race.
Yeah, definitely. I think Troll is actually, don't know if he's spun by himself, because on my screen he was lagging badly, and I'm not surprised it ended up with a leave the session, because that car was, 1 minute it was halfway around turn 3 at the back, and the next minute it was in between the McLarens, so don't know quite what went on, but hopefully no more issues for him as we move through the race. Pretty much away from that though, pretty clean. I didn't see any major contact. I seen Lighty and the Gort having to take over the inside of turn 1 a little bit, just because it nearly got a bit tight into there, but away from that everybody pretty clean to what I could see through turns 1, 2, 3 and up towards turn 4 for the first lap, and so far so good. Here comes Spike, getting the Mercedes mixed up. They're going to the outside, coming up towards the left-hander with Navy. Side by side they go. He's now got the inside line for the left-hander. Navy's going to try and hang it around the outside, but Mercedes is away and into third position. Nice move there from Spike. No DRS, remember, that won't be activated until after they cross the line this time by, so that was purely a better exit and good use of the slipstream and the ERS to make the move, and that puts the Mercedes up into third position. But Jack, 1.6 seconds clear of Recon. He's got a second over Spike, so the top two are out of DRS range, and then everyone else is, well, pretty much nose to tail. The only other big gap, Mays is 2 seconds behind Sean, with Gypsy George on his tail, and they've got a bit of a gap to everyone else.
Absolutely, you can just see there, that was Sean in the background closing in to Conti ahead of him. Meanwhile, George then trying to go up the inside of Mays, which he does, down into turn 2, and the Williams now moves up to 11th place. Lyronics is still trying to chase down Navy for 4th place, and Navy, he's been struggling at the start of this race. I wonder if that's maybe a little bit of a quali setup with heavy fuel that might be costing him through the corners.
It's quite possible it might be he's maybe set the car up in such a way where it's better on lighter tanks than it is on the heavier tanks, so we'll need to see how that goes on through the race. Maybe he's just not been able to light the tyres up, maybe he took too much out of them on the qualifying lap. Remember, he did start on the tyres he qualified on, and maybe he's just taken the life out of them far too soon during the qualifying phase. That was a nice move by George on Mays. It's been a bit of a topsy-turvy season for the Williams driver. He's had a few issues and a few offs, but that was a nice move on the Renault, put him into 11th position. He's the biggest gainer on the early stages, up 5 positions from where he started. Obviously Trow's the biggest loser, down 7 places, down to 17th. Your other losers were Navy and Alan Kay, both down 2 positions. The other gainers, Jeffrey Henney up 3 places, and of course Jack in the lead of the race and setting the fastest laps in the process as well, up 2 from starting 3rd in the grid. He's now 2.5 seconds clear already. We're only on lap 4 of 27.
It's looking good for him so far. Jeffrey Henney here on the left-hand side of his front wing does have damage to that racing point, and Graham here will be looking to try and get past as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Lighty there is looking to try and get past the Gort, but through turn 2, that is Shaw who's left the session again. I wonder if this time we'll see him back, and if that's anything to do with his internet connection. That's such a difficult thing without having to restart your whole router, which is what Andy had to do halfway through qualifying. So yeah, it's going to be tough for Draw, but you never know. We have seen safety cars this season, Andy. I wouldn't rule it out.
He's obviously trying, he's managed to get back in. He's had such a good season as well. Both him and Lighty in the Toro Rosso have had some fantastic results through the year. So, you know, he's 10 seconds, nearly 11 seconds now off the back in last. So he's obviously, he'll be hoping for a safety car or something major to happen to gain any hope of getting in the points in this race later on. He is in the medium tyre, so as long as he doesn't drop out and the AI decides to pit him early, he shouldn't be too bad in that sense. But yeah, it's not the ideal situation in any stretch of the imagination, that's for sure. But Jack out front, now 3 seconds clear, and it seems like everyone's just taking it a little bit easy now, even though DRS is enabled, even though it's quite close for some of the drivers. A few of them just seem to be sizing them up. I would imagine Lyronics fancies doing what his teammate Spike did a few laps back and getting by on Navy as soon as possible. He seems to be getting closer and closer. He does have DRS here, but so the Renault doesn't actually, so this is going to allow the Mercedes to close up. He's not going to be close enough to make a move though. You can see he's too far back, but that's going to allow him to get much closer, and maybe try a move down the back straight into the right-hander down to the back of there. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Henny's onto the back of Charlie, pulling in and out of the slipstream, sticking in 7th gear, only moving up to 8th at the last minute there, but he's up the inside and he's going to squeeze the Alpha to the outside. Charlie's going to have to give up that place, and now here comes Graham sweeping round the outside, and he's moved up, so 2 places lost, and the racing points are on the move. In fact, Graham's going up the inside on his teammate there. I thought they were going to have contact. Runs wide now. Charlie's going to take that position back, is he? Coming up to the right-hander of turn number 5, late on the brakes, a little bit of a touch and a squeeze, but everyone's managed to get through there safely. The racing points and the Alphas having their own little battle down towards the back end, trying to catch up to the points paying positions.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to keep their heads though. Very easy to just see the red mist and try and dive down the inside of a track that's narrow and full of sweeping corners. Lyronic still hounding and harassing the Renault of Navy up ahead. Meanwhile, the Gort then moves past Lighty. There was a little bit of a ghost involved there, so a little bit of connection issues between the two of them. However, the Gort now moves up a position, up to 6th place he goes, and Lighty is down to 7th place. In fact, picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles as he made his way through turn number 16. But Warren here on the medium tyres, 8th place at the moment, looking for a way past. Lighty running a little bit wide on the exit of turn 18. This could be Warren's opportunity then, with some DRS heading through turn 1 and then on towards turn 2. You see Lighty is actually closing in on the Gort ahead of him, so Warren's going to get a little bit of double toe, but he backs out of it pretty wisely there. Lighty having to go round the outside at turn 2, gets the move done on the Gort, and here is Warren to pick up the pieces up the inside at turn 3 and moves past the Gort, and just in the blink of an eye, the Gort moves from 6th down to 8th place. Oh, the Gort's going for a move up the inside. That was a big move from the Gort there. Didn't quite work, and I think he's paid the price for that one, and he has got damage on that front wing. I wonder if that's because he came back, and there's a little bit of confusion there as to what actually happened after turn 4. Warren ran wide, looks like he lost the back end. The Gort's hit the gearbox of Warren, and I think that's what's given him the front wing damage. But yeah, diving down the inside at turn 4 like that, I mean, that had shades of Raikkonen and Bottas all over it there.
I was just going to say exactly that, and I was just about to praise the Gort there actually, because Lighty went round the outside, but he had to cut across the inside of the curb at what is technically coming onto turn 3, which was obviously a bit cheeky. The Gort had to go to the inside of turn 2, but he seemed to back out of the throttle a little bit, so that he was... We probably got a warning, obviously, but so he didn't get picked up by our own after race stewards if anyone reported him. Whereas Lighty just seemed to keep his foot in it, but he's obviously then maybe a bit of the red mist descended, who knows, tried to get up the inside, regain the place, maybe felt hard done by it, and he's now into pit lane. But he is in the soft compound tyres. He can now put a set of mediums or hards on, maybe try and get to the end of the race, but a front wing change is going to cost him a few extra seconds. But he's the first driver to pit, and at least he wasn't on as Warren's now left the session. What is going on with the internet connections tonight? This is incredible.
Yeah, there's something about Russia, there's something about Sochi, just doesn't do well for internet connections tonight. Hopefully we can see Warren back. He was saying just before the race that he forgot to put some fuel in the car. I'm assuming that means he didn't put enough fuel in the car. That's to do some fuel saving. But Warren is rejoining back in there. Of course, when that message comes up, that doesn't mean they're back in the car straight away. It does take anywhere between 20 and 30 seconds before they are allowed to take control of the car. Once again, we saw that with Recon, who managed to take control just as they were heading into turn 2, which was a terrifying prospect. The AI is controlling your car. You have to watch on board as the 5 red lights count down before you can take back control of the car. It's a terrifying thing, because you don't know what the AI is going to do.
No, definitely not. And in terms of the connection issues, I think the Black Sea seawater that's nearby to here, it's Black Sea, or is it the Caspian Sea? Either way, I think the seawater's getting into the connection here, and no goes with the vodka connections. Unfortunately, it seems to be it's about as reliable as having a bottle of Sambuca in your back pocket, but that's a different story even to our beer. I'm going to stop. I'm tripping over one tongue. Thankfully, he is back into control of his car now, though. That's a good start. And he's down onto the back of his own teammate, and he can, if he can avoid any more connection issues, he can obviously still run longer. He is on the medium compound tyres. Lyronix is still behind Navy though. It keeps closing up, and then just through that middle sector, in the final sector, Navy just seems to pull a little bit of a gap, meaning that Lyronix can't use the DRS down into what is turn 2. and then down the back straight he's just not quite close enough either. Navy doing a good defensive job. He's used a lot of his battery up to do so. He's down to 30%, so is Lyronix as well, but the Mercedes is having a tricky time getting by that Renault just now. But those soft compound tyres are bound to be starting to go off before long, and obviously Lyronix is still on the medium compound tyres. He's going to be a bit longer, needs to be patient here. The race can still come to him.
And there is Warren down the inside at turn 5, gets the move done. Meanwhile, Conti there gets a little bit sideways through turn 5. Sean takes full advantage into turn 7 and takes the position away. So Conti now down into 9th place. I was just going to say about Lyronix, yes, he was right on the gearbox of Navy.
He's got a good run here.
Through the final corner, but he locked up, which cost him that time down the main straight and towards turn 2. But he's got a good run here as we make our way through turn 12 towards turn 13. And Navy just parks it. Lyronix just couldn't decide whether to lunge down the inside or, you know, I think in the end he just decided it's not worth the move here. I might as well just try down the start from the straight. Remember that Lyronix is on the medium set of tyres, so right now most medium tyres are looking good, but the more he spends battling Navy, the more he stays behind him with that dirty air, the less of an advantage he has on those medium tyres as we head past the halfway stage. But here he is then riding on board much closer to the Renault this time around. No luck up through the final corner will help that entirely.
Surely.
In the slipstream we go with the DRS, pulls out of the slipstream, heading down towards turn 2, up the inside, braking later than the Renault and takes the line away. Navy has to go a little bit off track there, but that was the Mercedes taking full advantage, taking the line and taking it away from Navy, and so Lyronix now moves up to 4th place.
It took him a lot more laps than he wanted, but clean move, and as you say, yep, we made Navy have to go across the outside a little bit, but he was just taking the line, being the car ahead. Meanwhile, Traw is on the back of Alan Kay. I thought he was going to make a dive there into turn number 2, but backs out of it. Meanwhile, he's got a better exit though, so he's going to sweep round the outside of the Irishman's Alfa Romeo through turn 3. He's now going to have the inside line for 4. Little touch there, just as he tried to take as much of the racing line back as he could to make the corner, but he's through and up in the 15th place. The Gort down in 17th, having made that early pit stop for a wing change. But Lyronix now, you can see he's already got himself enough of a gap where he doesn't need to defend into the right hander at the end of the back straight because of Davey having DRS, so that Mercedes is much quicker at this stage of the race. And during that process as well, while we were watching Navy parking the car down to that corner on the previous lap before getting past into turn 2, Jack picked up a 3-second time penalty out in the lead of the race, so technically his lead is only 0.3 of a second right now to Recon because of that penalty.
We've got yellow flags in sector 3 somewhere out on track.
It is a McLaren, it's Conti. He's spun it and lost the entirety of his front wing. That is just through that tricky uphill braking section, the left-right, just before the pit lane. And I think he's just got on the power a bit too early, just as you come over the crest, spun the car around into the wall or something like that. And he's picked up a 5-second speed time penalty for speeding, just to rub salt into the wound. So a wing change and the 5-second penalty is going to drop to the back of the field. But again, on the soft compound tyre, so he would have been due to pit soon, so it's not a complete waste today, but he is going to lose a good amount of time because of that. Navy picks up a penalty as well now, so penalties are starting to pick up. It is a track where it is very easy to pick up penalties because you really need to use the inside of the curbs to straighten the line of the corner and get the fastest line round here, and it's so easy to pick up warnings.
Here is Troll then, trying to make a recovery drive as best as he possibly can as we make way towards turn number 4. Of course, he's on those medium tyres as Charlie runs a little bit wide on the exit of turn 5. Shaw thinks about a move up to turn 6, but thinks again as we make our way in towards turn 7. Then through this double left-hander of turns 8 and 9. Still no way through for him, you just have to stay behind right now. Meanwhile, Mays is right on the back of George here as we're making our way through turn 11, then towards turn 12. You can see here Mays gets a little bit of boost of speed as he makes his way down towards the brake zone at turn 13, lunges down the inside, does the Renault, has to give the Williams a little bit of space there, but they make contact going in towards turn 14. Now I think 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Whilst this battle's going on, we've got Jack, Recon, Spike and Navy all diving into the pit lane. Lighty decides to stay out for another lap And let's see how this affects the standings then. Jack makes his way towards the end of the pit lane and accelerates away. It's a very narrow pit lane. Those walls look a lot closer when you're in the cockpit than when you're looking on. But look at that, Jack with clear air, absolute clear air on those medium tyres, rejoins in 5th place.
Yeah, so it's worked out nicely for both Jack and
Watch
for Rico and everyone else in pit lane. Oh.
As Navy rejoined, sorry to cut across you, Navy rejoined there. I thought that was going to be like 3 or 4 wide down towards turn 2, but luckily for Navy himself it wasn't. It's going to be annoying for Spike though, because he's rejoined in traffic. He's got George ahead of him, 0.6 of a second, so that's going to be a little bit of dirty air. That's not what he wanted at all, because he's now behind Mays and George, with Recon who's rejoined in 6th place. And these are those fine margins, Andy, that we see in Formula 1 all the time. This could be the difference. Spike here having to look for a move in towards turns 8 and 9, not really overtaking opportunity. Turn 10 might be, as he's looking and looking there. There's the DRS detection point. You saw that white line there, and there is Spike with the better traction off the corner, and now with DRS we'll now move up into 8th place. So that's 1 down for Spike. He's got Mays ahead of him now as we make our way through turn 12 and onwards towards turn 13. Meanwhile we've got Henny and Navy battling away as Navy now moves up a position. He's obviously got to get a move on as he's rejoined in traffic as well. Lighty then with the soft tyres comes into the pit lane, and the one half of the Germans in the Toro Rosso comes into the pit lane for his scheduled stop, so medium tyres will go on to the end of the race. So that means Lyronics takes over the lead of the race, but he does have to make a stop in this race, as does Warren and Sean. Meanwhile, riding on board with Spike once again, and so I don't think Mace is going to put up too much of a battle. He's not one of those drivers that does if you're on a different strategy, and he doesn't there. Not too much of a fight from the Renault driver, and so Mays pops it up into 6th place and now can try and start to chase down Recon, but that gap is now 6 seconds, Andy.
Yeah, it's really closing up there, big gap evolving, and Spike's lost a lot of time there, and that's the problem obviously with the long straights here, as Tro just sweeps around the outside of 3. He's now got the inside for 4, and Jeffrey Henney still side by side to come up to 5. I'll come back to Spike and the pit stops in a wee moment. Finally Tro gets that move done, so we're back up to 9th place at the moment for the German, but he still needs to make his pit stop, obviously having started in the mediums. But yeah, Spike, Navy especially, lost out quite a chunk of time there. Navy's still behind his teammate at the moment. In fact, he's about to get past him, you'd imagine, just into the DRS zone coming up in just a moment. But Spike, as you say, 6 seconds off the back of Recon, having been about 3 seconds or so back before the pit stop phase. So getting caught in that traffic just did not help at all, and it's cost Navy a bit of time too, because he's now 2.5 seconds behind Spike after having to negotiate through Mays and Jeffrey Henney on the previous lap. George did pit, having been on the soft compound tyres, and that would not have helped Spike either. George on those old tyres, he would have been struggling for grip, they would have been worn out towards the end of their life, so that would not have helped him at all either, Spike. That would have cost him a few more seconds. Meanwhile though, Jack with DRS is going past on Sean up the outside. Sean's still got the inside line, but he thinks better off it again, doesn't defend, knows he's on a different strategy to the championship leader, and Jack back up into P3 as Tro goes by under DRS on Mays, who made that relatively easy again there. But again, Mays, it's not a case he doesn't want to battle for the position, he just knows when to pick his battles very well. He knows when a car's quicker than him, and he knows when not to fight and when to fight. And at this stage of the race, he's running his own race, he knows he's still got to make his pit stop, and he's just taking it in the right way how he wants to do it. Alan Kay's just past Charlie, that's over 12th place, so still waiting on pit stops for Lyronics, Warren and Sean in the top 5, as Recon's left the session again. For the second time, the Dutchman, his internet has decided to go pop. I'd be getting on the phone tomorrow morning about it. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I would too. There's been plenty of battles that Recon's missed out on because of these internet troubles. What I was going to say as well earlier on is that Henny here is still nursing that front wing damage he got earlier on in this race. He's trying to prolong this stint, of course, on the medium tyres, even with that damage. So when he goes onto his soft tyre stint, he won't know how much grip he's actually unlocked in the car. But Lighty breezes past into 10th place with the help of DRS down in towards turn 13. 14, or lap 14, I should say. And Lyronics does lead the way. Recon has managed to join back, and Jack sets the fastest lap of the race. Lyronics leads from Warren in second place. Both drivers are yet to pit in this race. Jack then is in third place. That puts Sean up to fourth place. And he is yet to stop as well. So Recon there in fifth place. Spike closing into the Dutchman here as we make our way now down towards turn number 2. You can't see Recon yet. There he is. There's his ghost coming into light there. And that's going to be such a distraction for Spike. But he breezes past the ghost of Recon there. And what looked like an unassailable 6-second gap has turned into Recon being 7 tenths behind. He's now back in control of that car. And he'll be absolutely furious with that. He'll be absolutely furious with his ISP.
Definitely. So it shows you how much as well when you drop AI makes it about 3.5 seconds behind Sean before that disconnection. Spike is 8 seconds behind, with Recon 2 seconds behind him, so that's cost him about nearly 8 to 10 seconds just in terms of on track time in this race, so it's not good at all. Up to the back end pretty quickly as well. It seems like he's struggling a little bit just to get back under control of the car as well, because he's still losing time and just seems to be a bit wayward at the moment. Maybe it's got to the Dutchman, maybe it's causing him a few problems. Lighty and Maze side by side and then jumping back and forth as the Toro Rosso's got the inside, and finally a DRS sweeps by on the Renault and up to 9th place here too. Ironics and Warren are into pit lane, so that's going to put Jack into the lead of the race. Soft compound tyres for Ironics, so he's got, what's that, 12 laps to go, so that should be easy enough to do with the lighter fuel loads. And same for Warren as well, he'll be hoping for no disconnection issues. We've had a few of them tonight, hopefully it's just the Russian air and nothing else, and it's going to be nothing to worry about when we get to the next round next week.
Absolutely, so Jack leads the way, 5.2 seconds ahead from Sean, who's yet to stop in this race. Recon is in 4th place after those connection issues. Now Navy is trying to reel in his compatriot. Lyronics has rejoined in 6th place and on those soft tyres. So he's got 13 laps actually to make good of those tyres, and he makes his way now down towards turn number 4. Meanwhile, the Gort then has moved past Alan Kay as he moves up into 11th place. He's now got Henny ahead of him, but 6 seconds is the gap, and Henny's got front wing damage, which is trying to nurse to his pit stop there. That could benefit the Alfa Romeos towards the end of this race. We'll have to see if they can take full advantage of that. But lap number 15, 13 laps to go, 12 and a bit if you're picky, and it is Jack who leads the way and doing exactly what he needs to do currently with the, I believe he has the fastest lap of the race so far, and he does, a 1:35.0. So out of a possible 26, he's scoring 26 points. That's all he really needs to do. That's all he can do at this point. And Lighty has now left the session. That is through connection issues. I'm not entirely surprised, because his car has been jumping around quite a bit, and even with this ghost car in front of you as we ride on Warren Maze there, it is so easy for it to just put you off and put you off your line there.
It does, definitely. Even though you know it's ghosting, you can see that, it's still off-putting, because you know that car's technically still there in front of you. You know it's not going to go solid again during that time, it would obviously happen that way, but it's still very frustrating. Maze does come into pit lane to make his mandatory stop, but yeah, Lighty's been jumping a wee bit as well. Traw had a few jumps earlier on too. His, when I've looked at him, is not too bad now, and he has made his pit stop now in 14th on the field. Still got all 17 runners in the field, which is fantastic.
Diving down into turn 4 goes Lyronics, and he takes the move. He takes the position away from Navy. Bold move up the inside of turn 4, but it needed to be. And the Mercedes driver, who's currently second in the standings, says game on. Up to 5th place he goes.
Yeah, just caught the end of that. Nice move there from Lyronics, trying to get a move on with those soft compound tyres. Navy, although they're still fresh mediums, 5 lap old, they didn't have anything to answer to the soft compound. Now Lyronics going after a Recon. just about got himself into DRS range on Spike as well, so the battle for third is going to, well, what's going to be second once Sean pits, because Sean's in second and he's still not made his pit stop yet. So this is technically the battle for second between Spike, Recon, Lyronics and Navy. Warren trying to get onto the back of this as well, so we've got a 5-way scrap developing here for what will be the last 2 spots on the podium, as the Gort goes by Lai T, who is now back in control of his car and then retakes the Gort as well. So everyone back in control of their cars, and a 5-way scrap for the podium positions as currently developing as Warren sets the fastest lap. Look here at Lyronics, so all over the back of Recon, but Recon's got DRS as well. You've got to remember that. He's close enough to Spike to get the aid as well. Up the inside, it's ghosting a little bit. Connection issues on my screen. Hopefully looks a lot cleaner where you are. And Recon holds on for now as Lyronic's going to take a chance up the inside into 4th. Thinks better off it. He knows he's got the quicker tyres at this point in time. And Warren all over the back up the inside on TV.
Just to interrupt Danny there, as he's, it's bound to be Morse code he's trying to communicate it now. But yes, Warren does get the move down the inside there. Recon managing to hold on to 3rd place for now, as Lyronics is doing his best to try and get past. But look at this then, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, all pretty much in the same shot, as Lyronics this time has some DRS. But whilst the Mercedes of Spike is awarding Recon with some DRS, it doesn't look good for Lyronics right now. I think Spike is just in it for himself right now until he's out of the championship altogether, and rightfully so. He's still in with a shot. Why would he want to give up this position? But Lyronics here, 2nd place in the championship, is struggling to get past this Ferrari as we make our way now down towards the last 2 corners through turn 17 and then coming through turn 18. Let's see how Lyronics can fare through the final corner. A great exit from the Mercedes. He's right on the back of Recon here in the Ferrari. You can see Recon starting to pull away even with that slipstream. Look at this, look how fast Recon is in a straight line. There's just no chance for Lyronics to get the move stuck there. But watch out for Warren, the man who wants to try and upset this battle here. He's looking to try and take full advantage of this squabble between the Mercedes and the Ferrari here, as Warren now currently in 5th place, looking to still try and take full advantage of this one. But look at this, a 4-way scrap for 2nd place. Someone grab the popcorn.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully you can hear me again now, because it seems to be happening again. Good battle developing though. Spike, obviously, he's mentioned in the chat he struggles in that final sector on the pad, and that won't be helping him at all. Recon's got amazing straight line speed. Lyronics as well during the moments where everything was going wrong for me and you took over. So remember, Jack has one too, but he's 12 seconds up the road. Warren looks like he's got more speed on Lyronics, looking to the inside, late on the brakes up the inside on the Mercedes defending champion, but he holds on round the outside. Warren's going to try and switch back now towards the chicane. Recon's run wide there as well, and no changes there, but Recon had the advantage and he's like ahead and nearly going after Spike, but now Lyronics Hunter, but he's still got to watch out for that papaya orange McLaren behind. They got a podium with Carlos Sainz on Sunday in the Brazilian Grand Prix, and a frantic finish, and they're looking for more. But here comes Lyronics. Look at this. If he was any closer, you'd think it was NASCAR at Daytona. He'd be pushing them through, but look, that Ferrari's just pulling away with the slipstream and the DRS up the inside. No move, nearly widened. Clobbered. Warren loses control at the back, losing ground by to the outside, but even with the soft compound tyres he still can't get the move done. That Ferrari is quick.
How on earth did Recon keep control of that one? Here comes Lyronics though, looking for a move up the inside at turn 5 here. Still looking for that move. He's got a better exit out of turn 5 as we make our way through turn 6, through turn 7. Lyronics sticks it up the inside, and finally he gets the move done. Warren, meanwhile, looking to try and take advantage now through turn 8, but he had to go around the outside. No way through there. Recon losing out, but he's still got that straight line speed advantage. We've seen that against the Mercedes, but let's see what Warren can do then as we make our way through 11 and onwards towards turn 12. Look at this, Warren is actually quicker than Recon in a straight line here. Recon defends there, Warren no way through for him, dives it down the inside into turn 13 and takes that position away, grabs the inside of 14 right now as the two of them scrap for position, heading towards turn 15. Warren has the inside line here and takes the position away. A bold move from Warren, but it gets him up a place. Meanwhile then, Lyronix right on the back of Spike now, his teammate now. How much of a fight will Spike put up through the final corner and onwards towards the start-finish straight over the line? We have 8 laps to go. Jack is 13 seconds clear. Lyronix then with the DRS. Side by side they go down towards turn 1 and Lyronix takes away second place. Boy, when he got kicked into gear, he took all those positions away in pretty much a single lap. That was great stuff from Lyronix. Really, really good stuff from him. And he now finds himself in second place with Warren here with a shout of a podium.
Absolutely, that was one of the best laps of the season if you ask me. Brilliant stuff. Warren diving up the inside. On my screen he was Recon down the back straight. It was almost an angry move from the McLaren driver. He was like, I am taking this position, you will not stop me, and he flies up the inside. Now he's on the back straight. You can imagine with the soft compound tyres he'll be making that move pretty easily in just a moment with DRS, but Jack looking good out front. But if this Warren can get by and him and Lyronix can work together to close that gap, you never know what can happen in the final stages. Tyres can go off. They do have this quite ending well here though from Warren, and the McLaren's no way through at the moment, but with those softer compound he's looking much quicker than the Mercedes just now. He's not going to look up the inside there. No, he thinks better off it. That would have been a brave move, but he has put Spike offline there through that left-right chicane, and that does compromise his exit speed there. So Warren's going to have a brilliant chance down the back straight. Shaw's just down 9th position down the back straight as well, but here comes Warren. Spike's going defensive already. He knows he's in trouble. He doesn't even have DRS to defend this. He's not close enough to his teammate. Here comes Warren and McLaren. He needs to go the long way round to the outside. Can he get the braking done? Spike's good in the brake, so we know that, and they both run a bit wide. Warren's going to have to give the position up there. Recon's going to try and close up. Will he fancy a move? He's now going to the inside. I thought he was going to go the long way round into 4. He's now going to go the outside, sweeps around, and that's a beautiful move from collide there, but Warren, from thinking he was going to 3rd, is now down to 5th.
Millimetrically perfect from the Dutchman there. What a move from the Ferrari. An optimistic move, but it worked. And now Warren has to do all of that hard work all over again. Spike here will be driving the widest Mercedes Sochi has ever seen with 6 laps to go. But I'm really enjoying this one right now. What Recon once again will have another chance of getting past Spike, and this seems like a move that has to happen for the Ferrari if he's got any chance of holding on to the podium. He's gaining on Spike there, but has to back out of the move in towards turn 13 there, and Spike picks up a 3-second time penalty. Recon taps the back.
Warren's lost part of his wing.
And that was Warren losing the wing there. That surprised me because I thought Recon had lost the wing there. But yeah, you're right. The McLaren has lost the right-hand side end plate of his front wing. That's not going to stop him, though. Having a move down the inside in towards the penultimate corner and then in towards the final corner. Has the inside line against the Ferrari. Who gets the better exit out of the final corner? It is Warren. Great move from the McLaren here. But was that a move too early? Because Recon here will have the DRS all the way down towards turn 2. They're still side by side. Fair play to them. In towards turn 2 they go, and Recon takes that position away. Really brave stuff between the two of them. Great battling between them as well. Full of respect, but also at the same time they're both saying to each other, look, I want that position.
Yeah, definitely. So Warren losing the wing was just Spike ran wide through the corner, the right-hander, just after the DRS, and it kind of caused a concertina because he was slow through the left-hander. Warren just wasn't expecting it, and that's what's cost him the wing damage. He's trying his best to keep up though, and he's keeping up well at the moment because that is visible damage, but he's going to be struggling. So do expect the Ferrari and the Mercedes to start maybe pulling away a little bit from the McLaren here. Lyronix has got the gap to 3.4 on Spike, so he's clear in second. 12 and a half seconds down on Jack. They've both got the same amount of penalties, so that's not going to make much difference at this stage. Closest battle though Warren on Recon, and down the field Conti on Maze. They're coming up to the DRS zone. They're the two closest on track at the moment. The two Toro Rossos are pretty close together, and you know, as much as connection issues, and myself, we've all had them tonight by the looks of it. Shout out to Tro. First lap, lost the connection, 10 seconds off the back of anybody, and he's back into the points in 9th coming into the closing stages. That's a really good race there from him. What could have been if he didn't have that disconnection though?
Yeah, we seem to ask that question about someone every single race. What could have been? But here comes Recon then, looking for that move down the inside of Spike as Jack picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that's 3 seconds in Lyronix's pocket there, but that's still 9.6 seconds. Here is Recon once again looking for a move, diving down the inside, is he? Oh, that was close there from the Ferrari, but Spike runs a little bit wide. Warren gets a really good exit out of turn 4, but he just can't really do anything with it as we head in towards turn 5. Who said Russia was a boring Grand Prix? This is one of the best Grand Prix we've had this season.
You know what? Can we race here in Brazil every week? I think that would be brilliant. You know what I mean? Those two back to back would be amazing. Tro's just gone by on lighted. No, he's not, because it's a connection playing funny with us again. So we'll just damage. I mean, I don't know how much it is actually in the race, but in terms of on screen, completely. Yet, everybody's got see cars drop dramatically, and especially at a track like this, there's a lot of medium speed corners around about 100 miles an hour. You need that course on the front end, but he's fighting on gamely, I must say. Really impressed.
He is, and whilst those soft tyres last, he will have grip through the medium speed corners, but with that damaged front wing, that wear just increases exponentially towards the end of this race. Then 4 laps to go, correct me if I'm wrong, as we head towards the closing stages of this race. It is Jack who still leads, 12.4 seconds ahead of Lyronix. Of course, 7 points between them at the moment will take the gap to 31. Well, no, that's not it at all. It'll be 33 points, won't it? Will it? I don't know. I can't maths properly.
I'll go maths. Why don't we do it? Why would I go do that?
Oh, Recon round the outside at turn 4 there. Spike will squeeze him out, and luckily for those track limits, Recon is able to stay on the throttle then in towards turn 5, and Spike is defending hard for this podium. He knows he has to defend so hard from the drivers behind him. Recon and Warren here are putting on a great fight behind them. Spike at the moment is just leaving them to deal with it, but when he has to defend, Andy, he knows exactly where to place the car and exactly what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The car very nicely indeed, and it's just going to frustrate Recon. He's now got, again, DRS coming up very close. He's having to leave it late. Spike's gone late in the brakes, he's ran very wide. Where is the Mercedes? He's there, he's lost 2 places, so he's not ended up in the wall, but yeah, he tried his best to hold on to that as long as he could. Dived late on the brakes there, but couldn't keep it on. And Warren get through there, and I wonder if those medium tyres are maybe just crying a little bit enough. He did say struggling with a pad through sector 3, and I wonder if it's just took the wear off the tyres and just a bit of an out braking move and loss off the podium place. But he's fighting gamely all the way to the end there. Meanwhile, speaking of game, damaged McLaren is going up the inside on Recon into turn number 2. Nice move done there, Recon. Oh, he spun out!
Oh no! Oh. Spins out completely there. He dropped the back end out of turn 2 there. Either he clipped the curb, whatever happened there for Warren. That looks like major front wing damage now. Yeah, it is. You can see how much understeer there is to the car now. As yeah, that wing looks in a lot worse condition than it was before, and unfortunately for Warren there, that is another result that what might have been. That just seems to have been his story so far in TTL F1, Andy. He's a fantastic... Oh, Recon hits the wall! Coming out of turn number 9 there, he lost the back end as well. It's not over for Spike, because now Recon, does he have wing damage? I think from the looks of it, he's got away with it. But what we see, Andy, is not normally the whole story.
Wondering is, was Warren's spin because of a slight bit of a tap off of the Ferrari maybe? Because Recon got a great switchback through turn 2, very close on my screen, and the next thing I seen was the McLaren heading to the wall. So we can't see wing damage to the Ferrari or Recon, but I wonder if he does, and I wonder if contact was made with Warren, and that's what caused the McLaren to spin. We'll need to wait and see, obviously, see if that happened to the stewards, but it didn't look like it on the screen, but they were very, very close. Warren's decided to pit to change his front wing, so he's maybe deciding, you know what, I'll take the wing change and maybe try and get the fastest lap point. He should be fine for at least 10th, but he's going to lose a number of places here. But it's such a shame. What could have been? He was looking very, very quick towards the end of the race. Sean's not too far off the... They're up to 6th after being disconnected and running as a ghost 10 seconds down in the first lap. Unbelievable.
Don't forget, Andy, he's disconnected twice.
Twice?
Twice.
It's incredible.
And he's still in 6th place. That just shows you the character that Troll has. He's not going to be beaten down that easily. He's not out of the race unless all 4 wheels of his car are off. That's his determination there. But Jack is making his way through the 3rd sector for the penultimate time as he makes his way through that 15-16 chicane on towards turns 17 and 18. All Jack has had to do is keep his head and keep the pace going. Everything has happened behind him. And as a driver, that's all you need to do as he makes his way on towards the start-finish straight to start the final lap here in Russia and the final lap of round number 8 of the championship here. And let's see, he makes his way now down towards turn 2, having a look at his season so far. Well, Jack here, 2 race wins so far this season at France and at Britain. His last 2 results were a 4th at Hungary and a 3rd placed at the Italian Grand Prix last time out. Here, he could make it his 3rd race win of the season. Lyronix there picks up a 3-second time penalty. Interesting to see how that will affect him towards the end of the race. The gap between the 2 championship rivals of Jack and Lyronix was 26 points. As it stands right now, that gap will go up to 33 with 52 points left to score. For Jack, though, it puts himself in a prime position as he makes his way now on towards the 2nd DRS straight, if you like, as we make our way now through turn 11 on towards turn 12 and the braking zone of turn number 13. This could be a 3rd race win of the season for Jack here as he puts himself in prime position heading into the last 2 rounds of the season. Jack now making his way through 15 and 16. Only a couple of corners to go. Only a couple of corners for those tyres to hang on to. Sticks out the tail there at turn 16. Already weaving on his way to 17. He knows he's done enough there. Wheel spinning out of turn 17 and wheel spinning out of turn 18. It is Jack with his 3rd race win of the season. A commanding drive from the championship leader and another win to add to his tally. Lyronix then through turn number 18 gets himself onto 2nd place. So 7 points drop then as Recon there. Oh, Recon loses it out of the final corner there and holds on to 3rd place. Spike then in 4th with Navy coming across the line in 5th place. And I just want to say a massive shout out to Troy right now. Meanwhile, there's a huge battle happening behind him. Lighty and Sean making their way through the final couple of corners. Troy then will take 6th place, having been disconnected at the 1st corner. That is a fantastic drive from the German there as he now puts himself into 6th place. The Gort then finishes in 9th place and Warren at one point battling for the podium. This time will get himself that bonus point. In fact, he'll get himself 2 points there with a 32.0 as the fastest lap of the race. Conti then will take 11th place. Mays will finish in 12th place unless they switch around, which they do. So Mays then into 11th place. Jeffrey Henney will get 13th place. George then looking like he's trying to hold off Charlie then towards the line and around the final corner. A good drive actually from George, but let's see penalties. Yeah, Charlie moves up to 14th place. Alan Kay then moves up to P14. So it's only Graham then to come across the line to take some position there as he does. But then here is your race winner for the Russian Grand Prix. It's race win number 3. Jack wins in Sochi.
Yeah, very good race from Jack. Obviously helped a little bit with Recon not being in control of his car with one of his 2 disconnects right at the start of the race at the end of the formation lap. But he's drove well, and it's another victory. It takes him a step closer. He could, theoretically, if things go his way, wrap it up next week when we head to the Mexican Grand Prix. But Lyronix in second, doing everything he can to try and keep this battle going. Recon with third with 2 disconnects, but for me, driver of the race has got to be Troll. 2 disconnects his own, 10 odd seconds, and he still takes 6th position. Phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here are your official, unofficial results for the Russian Grand Prix here in TTL F1. It's Jack who takes his 3rd race win of the season, and Lyronix finishes in 2nd. Recon rounds off the podium, and Spike finishing in 4th. It's Navy in 5th with Troy, with a drive of the season, it seems, in 6th place, with Sean finishing in 7th place. Lighty in 8th, with the Gort in 9th, and Warren rounding out the top 10. He also gets the bonus fastest lap of the race point, so he scores 2 points from this race. Mays then in 11th place with Conti in 12th, Henny in 13th, Alan Kay in 14th, Charlie 15th, George in 16th, and Graham in 17th. Andy, all 17 cars that started this race made it to the checkered flag.
We have a full 100% finishing. That's incredible. And Recon, Troll and Warren to pick up the no penalty award. And I don't know about Troll and Warren, to be honest, but shout to Recon, he didn't have a single last lap. That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got to do some maths behind the scenes, I'm afraid, Andy. The gap to the leaders is now up to 33 points, with of course 52 points left to score with those 2 bonus fastest lap of the race points, assuming that someone gets them inside of the top 10. For Recon though, looking at it, well, where did he finish? He was 3rd place in the end, so that's 10 points between himself and Jack. From the looks of it, what's that? 121 to 76, well, that was it before the race started. 121 to 76 was 45 points. That gap now goes up to 55 points.
So Recon's out.
Yeah, Recon is out of the championship, as is Straw, Navy, Spike, Warren. Unfortunately, they're all out of the championship. So now, with 2 rounds to go, it is a 2-horse race to that championship. Jack versus Lyronix. Who will come out on top? 33 points separates them. Andy, if you had to back a horse with 2 races to go?
Is that a good idea for me, considering my track record of jinxing people? Seriously?
Well, yeah, I've managed to jinx Spike tonight, so why not make it a full house?
Obviously it's kind of hard to look beyond Jack. He's been extremely consistent, top 5 all season when he's finished, and he's obviously got the advantage. A good result next week could tie it up, could even mathematically almost tie it up going into the final round, but we shall see. But season 14 and season 13 champions are battling it out to be season 15 champion. One of them's going to be a 2-time winner at the end of the season. Which one will it be?
You're absolutely right. We're going to have a repeat winner, but who is it going to be? I'll just correct you there, Andy. You said the season 14 and season 15 champion. We haven't decided that one yet. You meant season
13
30.
first.
No, you didn't.
I did say 13. That's the
Chat,
accent.
Back me up. Back me up on this one, chat.
Shush.
Alright, okay, fair enough. Well, that will do it for tonight's stream, so make sure you tune in next week for what should be a thrilling next instalment of the championship. We head to Mexico. It's basically a big go-kart track. How could you not love it?
It'll be another incredible race.
Well, absolutely. I mean, everyone was talking down Russia, and what a battle we had for that last podium position, whilst it lasted anyway. It was absolutely amazing. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe down to the channel below, and make sure you follow the league on Twitter. It's at TTL_F1. You can follow me on Twitter whilst you're there as well if you really want to. It's at KSMCGF1, and you can also follow Andy on Twitter as well. Take it away, Andy.
Yep, it is Andy81287. I'd normally say it's on the screen right now, but I've already left the lobby because, well, connection. being annoying.
Because of reasons I have left. Make sure as well you tune in to TTTV tomorrow with Malk for TTFL, which of course is going to be replaced by the up-and-coming TTSL, the TT Sprint League. So if you want more information about that, make sure you follow the new account on Twitter. I've set myself up for that one, and I didn't have the Twitter handles ready. It's simply at TTSL _F1. There's going to be 2 tiers, so you can probably figure out what the second one's going to be, but make sure you get in contact with the leagues there if you fancy racing in 2 separate races on the same night. From myself, well, I'll be back. When will I be back again, Andy? Remind me.
Well, you know what? This is one for people to go along with. Come and watch Monday night, 8 PM, TTT to the Circuit of the Americas, and we've got the massive monstrous Group C's for the Racing Roulette, along with the Formula Renault Championship. But we've also got a mini, what was it you called it the other night? Battle of the Commentators, because anyone who knows, I do race in that league along with helping run it, but Mr. McGinley here's coming in for a little race on Monday, so come have a watch.
Yeah, final 3 rounds of the season. It's literally a best of 3, Andy, and I can't wait to get beaten.
There's a cup. No, there is a cup event as well in the Janetta Juniors. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah, in the league it's a best of 3, but yes.
Yeah, best of 3 in that one. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll be joining us for that one as well. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I've been Andy Campbell.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.